Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces, where we talk about watch collecting and horology. Um, as you see, I am in the active process of moving. The only reason that's still there is because I want the dealer who sold it to me to move it for me because they actually came over and installed it on the wall because I would if I were gonna do the proper job of moving it, I would have to disconnect the, pendulum. "Hey, Maroc Spec Ops, how's it going? Thank you." I'm I'm this is the first time I've actually hired a professional company, so I don't expect to have any serious issues. I'm actually leaving a lot of my furniture here because the apartment I'm moving into actually has furniture. Um, I didn't plan on getting it, like that, but, it's a, odd situation that I really wanted the apartment, and it's the basement apartment. Well, it's not really basement because the house is on a slope, and I'm in the lower level, but I face out into the city's park, and, it's the bottom floor apartment in a villa in, Wiesbaden near the, park. So it's a really nice location, and I thought, this place is right across the street from the train station, and there's a fried chicken restaurant downstairs. So I thought, you know what? Let me live someplace that I have to pay just because it's in a nice location. So I'm paying a few hundred more than I'm paying here for rent for the same size apartment. Um, but it's in a much nicer part of town. So I'll see how that works out. And I'm ramping into my new position. For those of you who do not know, I'm taking on the role of the IEEE's editor in chief of their Power Electronics Journal, which is a peer reviewed journal. And the IEEE is the regulatory organization for the American electronics industry. So I'm very honored to have gotten that position. I just literally got the position. And so I'll be taking over. Well, I'm literally diving into it head first. My inbox is already full of work, and I'm calling a colleague in California after this to talk about tomorrow's meeting with the editorial board. But I didn't take the job because it paid well or was easy to do. I jumped at the opportunity because editor in chief of the IEEE's Power Electronic Journal is about as high in the respect category as you can get as a technology journalist, because I'm currently editor at large for electronic design, microwaves and RF, power and motion, a bunch of the Endeavor engineering publications here in Europe. And frankly, that's actually pays better. But again, the IEEE is the IEEE. I actually am going to continue to work for Endeavor to a degree. I'm going to continue to do my engineering podcast, Inside Electronics, on electronic design on their website, and I've decided to stay new products editor at Microwaves and RF to keep my hand in the non-power space, and wireless is very hot right now. Um, and so, yeah, I'm just really got a lot. I've really got a lot of moving parts in my life right now. But that's what life is about. I had not planned on having my life get more complicated at this point. I was actually looking forward to retirement, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. But it's not like I'm standing in a factory pulling on a drill press lever. So first world problems. But let's see. Oh, Oscar. Hey, how's it going, Oscar? Maroc, my watches will look different in my new place because of the location and light. This is also true. Hey, Trap Vision, how's it going? And James, nice to see you. In fact, let's say you can tell I'm moving. I have my B team in the travel box. I say B team in the travel box because I keep the A team in the safe, because lately I don't keep my best pieces ever since what happened. Whatever happened to poor Paul Pluta, Archie Luxury, who actually came on the show once, and I feel bad I didn't go right onto his live stream after, but I was beat. Um, but I keep my best pieces in my watch box, because that way it fits into my safe, and I always stick it in the safe before I even leave the place for anything farther than the local shop to, pick up a bottle of beer. Um, so I'm putting the B team in the big heavy travel case because I'm going to put the A team and its slimmer case in a backpack and carry it to the new location that way. But I'm actually going to leave it in the safe here until the movers come because they're going to move it. That was part of the contract. They know that I have a safe that they've got to move. And then once they've moved it to the new place, then I'll transfer the watches to the new place and everybody wins. But moving and watches are also a concern when you think about, at point of transition, you got to keep your eye on your stuff. You don't want anything to go disappearing either accidentally or otherwise. But on to, well, let's see, some more comments before we go on to this topic of the day. Nanad, just put the armor back in my new apartment. And I really liked it. Yes, I did bring the apartment over, but the irony is that I made, because I hadn't planned to move out of this place. So I had made a wooden frame inside the armor that I discovered I couldn't easily take apart. So I wound up breaking one of the legs of the wooden, not of the armor, obviously, but of the wooden framework inside. So I have to make a new framework, but I will put it in, and I will make sure to try to get it into the view behind wherever I'm going to be shooting these live streams from now on. But yes, the armor is making the move. I'm actually, like I said, leaving a bunch of furniture, none of the electronics, of course. Um, and because they have a lot of shelving in the place, so I'm in good shape that way. But yeah, you got to be careful when you move. I'm in the process of it. So let's see. Hey, Ninad, you were saying elusive man. Hey, how's it going, elusive man? Smack daddy. Hey, hey, live greetings and long life. Smack Daddy, hello. First time catching a live greetings from Australia. Hey, thank you. It's always nice to have people from far-flung places watching the show. It gives me warm fuzzies. I watch these after the fact, but cool to see you live. Well, cool to see you live, Smack Daddy. And if you have any questions, you know how we love to talk about stuff on the show. And Trap Vision finally caught me early. This is true. We just started rolling. We're good for at least an hour. Because last time I was a little rushed because my lady friend was in the apartment, but I'm literally alone in an empty room. I mean, like, emphasis on the empty. Ah, let's see. Making Ristery. Hey, how's it going? Greetings and long life. Hi, all. Kevin from Pasadena. Back for more. Made it live 2 weeks in a row. Very cool, my friend. Trap Vision. I like the moon phase feature, but I don't necessarily have to own a number of them. Yes, I'm going to get to the point. Yes, I do want to talk about moon phases too this evening. Trap Vision. I had a Casio Quartz moon phase before I was into watches, but I lost it in a move. Now, and exactly today's topic is the moon phase, but I did want to talk about two related moon topics before I got deeply into the meat of the subject today. The first is, I think the new first Omega in space, the latest iteration is a great piece. But let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. All right. Speedy Pro, twisted lugs, that's the way you go. I mean, actually, you can go however way you like, but let's not forget the twisted lug's still around. That was the one thing. And the other thing was kudos to the SpaceX people for catching the super heavy booster with those humongous chopstick arms. I mean, when I was a child growing up, rockets landing on their tails was a staple of science fiction. I mean, they took it for granted. Oh, let's go to the spaceport, and the spacecraft would land, and then they would take off again. And that used to be science fiction. And SpaceX, all of those people, all those engineers, all those workers, welders, pipe fitters, every single person on that launch at that launch facility is a critical member, and every single pair of hands help that rocket go into space and come back down and be caught by those huge arms. I think that is awesome technology. And I just wanted to, shout out to SpaceX for what they were doing there because our obsession with space and the moon is one of the reasons the moon phase is a uh, popular. It's always been around, but just like the micro brand explosion, it was growing and growing, and all of a sudden they're everywhere now. Moon phase are everywhere now, and some really nice ones too. But when you think about it, as I was saying, we've always had a fascination with the moon. The moon literally regulates the human reproductive cycle. You know, people's emotions are impacted by the moon. Growing cycles of plants and animals are impacted by the moon. The ability of the moons to reflect the sun's light when it's full allow people to do work beyond sunset before they had electric or even fire, if you think about it, or where lights weren't convenient when the only lights were fire, like old timey farmers. Harvest moon was a moon that you could work under. And back in the day with no light pollution, a full moon must have been bright as heck relative to the local ambient, which means you could see quite a bit, I would imagine. So when you think about how intimate the moon is, I have a illuminated moon photograph on my wall, and I actually use it as backup lighting because I don't normally have it lit. I just look at the moon picture, but then I turn it on for the light, so I have a little bit of extra light for the episode. But we're all fascinated with the moon and space. That's one of the reasons, back to the Speedy, that's one of the reasons the Speedmaster is arguably the coolest watch ever, because it went to the moon and it saved the lives of the Apollo 13 astronauts. So maybe sometime in the future, there might be some weird circumstance where, one of the missions around Mars or Neptune and get saved by a plucky, smart astronaut or, other or active passenger or, whatever you want to call people in space in the future when the roles will start blurring and they save a bunch of lives or even maybe an entire facility with their trusty watch, then that watch will become cool and famous. But until that happens, they're heavyweight champion of the world unless somebody else knocks you out. You're the champ. And so, as in the cool category, the Speedmaster is a cool watch, and moon phase is a cool complication because when you think about the moon phase, it doesn't help us, especially even if you are a modern farmer. You're not going to be relying on a moon phase on your watch to make any calculations about crop management. You know, um, a moon phase complication is just that, tells you what the phase of the moon is. But it's an elegant complication. It's a 29 and a half day cycle, give or take several hours, which is why I think it's 0.03% of a day, which is why some moon phase movements, complications, modules are more accurate, more exact, as it were. I think it's like 135 tooth wheel will give you 120 years of accuracy. And some, like I believe the Meistersinger Lunoscope is an awesome piece. I have a review on it in the archive. I encourage you, if you're even remotely interested in moon phases, to check out the Lunoscope, the Meistersinger. I'm not a big fan of one-handers, but a dress one-hander, it's not like you're going to be timing anything with a dress one-hander, and having a moon phase on it would then bring it to the level of, well, okay, it's not just a one-handed watch, it's a one-handed watch with a moon phase. but it's a dress watch, and so, the one of the other things about a moon phase is it's a whimsical complication. It's a fun, attractive complication, but it's whimsical. It's fairy, once a month the fairies come out. It's a full moon. Watch out, werewolves. Um, it's a whimsical complication. And when you think about it, it's reflected in how it's manifested. Some watchmakers will put a painting of a smiley face or or maybe like even a vintage representation of the, man in the moon, as it were, Procter and Gamble stuff. Um, or they'll go the elegant way, like a JLC or the Frederic Constant or the Longines, and go with a gold disc. And I personally like, well, it depends on the cut of the watch. In a dress watch, I prefer the gold disc, but in a sports watch or like an aviator style, something with a little bit of a vintage feel to it, I wouldn't mind having one with like a man in the moon face. What are your thoughts on that? What kind of moon face would you like to see? Let's see. I love it when I have to scroll back up because it means we're getting a lot of comments. Uh, Trap Vision. Oh yeah, you're saying I like the moon phase feature, but I don't necessarily have to own a number of them. Well, Trap Vision, you only need one or two. Like, I'm looking very much forward to getting back my Longines Conquest moon phase. I'm selling my Air King to a friend of mine who I'd sold a PRX Chrono and the Longines Conquest, and he offered them back to me with cash for the Air King, and I said yes because I wanted to get the Conquest back, and I'll probably keep the um, PRX chronograph for a while, and I'll move that one probably along. But I think I'm going to hold on to the Conquest because I currently don't have a moon phase in my collection. So why not take that back, which has a nice moon phase in it? And it's not as nice of a watch as the Master Collection moon phase calendar by Longines. Um, The Conquest is a sports piece, so it's got a cam 7750 instead of the column wheel 7750 that the Master Collection gets, but it has loomed hands, so you can tell which of the hands tells time because the Longines Master Collection Moon Phase Triple Date has a ton of hands, and they're all highly polished steel. So you really have to look at it twice to see what time it is. Whereas at least on the Conquest, the time indicating hands are loomed, so you can tell the hour and the minute right there and then. And the reason I actually sold it is because compared to the Master Collection, it's not as good of a watch, and it disappointed me. But as a sports watch with triple date moon phase, it's awesome, and I recognize that now because the sports case, the face is smaller on the Conquest, but because of the fact that the case is more robust for higher water resistance and the like. So, but you don't need a lot of moon phases in your collection to answer your point. You just need one or two moon phase as watches. James, Trap Vision. I had a Casio Quartz moon phase before I was into watches, but I lost it in a move. Casio just came out with a new rectangular moon phase. Inexpensive too. I think it was like $100 range, $150 range. Fun, inexpensive pieces like that remind people of why we wear watches. Yes, they tell time, but they do more than tell time. They allow us to express personality, show style, have fun, enjoy workmanship, work, womanship, personship. You know, um, Watches are art and technology and engineering. They're cool. I guess chair's starting to squeak. I'm gonna have to see if there are any bolts to tighten or something like that. Let's see. Formula Whiplash. Stay away from Liberty safes. Now, actually, I have a Rotner? A Rotner safe with a, key. It doesn't have a tumbler. I mean, it doesn't have a, combo lock or a keypad or anything. I just it's a key safe, which are the safest kinds of safe, no pun intended, because a key safe, there's nothing to bypass. You have to literally pick the tumblers in the lock. And a good key safe, my key is like yay long, so that means the tumblers are all the way inside the door. It's actually insurance rated for half an hour break-in, and it's fireproof and waterproof. It only weighs about 150 pounds, um, but I bolt it to the floor. It's got holes in the floor in the bottom of the safe, so you can bolt it to whatever surface it's sitting on. And I've been pretty happy with it. But I do recommend getting a good safe. And when I do well, first off, when I travel, everybody knows I travel with my watches. Uh, I usually leave the B team out in the display case in case somebody does break in. Let them think that that's it and take it. Um, but I am very cognizant of security, and if I really and have to travel and I don't want anything, I'll, let my, son-in-law borrow some pieces, and he has a safe, and he takes care of his pieces, and then he's there watching the stuff. But you should always think about security with your watches at all times. If you don't have a safe, then wear your watch all the time if you have a one watch collection. But if you have, I would say more. If you have less than $10,000 worth of watches, I wouldn't stress it. You can get like a good metal. Doesn't have to be waterproof. Fireproof or waterproof. Just something to keep it basically secure, like a cashier's box or something like that. But then again, at that point, I would get one of those fireproof document boxes because those are lockable, and because they're heavy duty plastic padded because they're ablative for fire protection. They're actually, unless you've got a saw, you're not getting into one of them. So you could get, yeah, a fireproof document box and put a bicycle lock through the handle and your radiator. At that point, you're trying to make it hard for the thief. Any good thief is going to break through any security. My goal is I want my security to be better than the kind of thief that would want my watches. Any thief that could break into my security, I figure is too good a thief to want my collection. But back to moon phases. Elusive Man just got back from a day in Dublin. Interesting town. It is an interesting town. Closes too early for my taste. Uh, Saw a few small watch stores, but didn't quite have time to go in. That's too bad because it's always nice to look at local shops to see they might have deals or they might have like oddball, micro brands that some from like maybe times in the past, 50s and 70s. Uh, you never know what you find in some of those small shops and some of those. But Dublin's a major city, so it's not like it's an out of the way place, but it's a major city in an interesting part of Europe. You never know what you might find. Maroc Spec Ops. What do I think about the new Omega release? That's what I was just mentioning at the beginning. I was joking, saying, okay, for all of the, fawning over the new first Omega in space, don't forget twisted lugs, guys. Don't forget twisted lugs. Now, I think the new Omega, Speedy first Omega in space, Ed White, um, I think it's a really beautiful piece. I really do. I don't agree with all the watch pundits are saying I'm the best and the only Speedmaster to get. I'm like, what twisted lugs or cottage cheese now? Um, Sometimes people can get a little too carried away. It's a great watch. It really is a great watch. But when you run out of all of your enthusiasm on it, what happens when the next great watch comes out? You curb your enthusiasm. You didn't realize I was making a reference to a show, but actually, you could almost look at that kind of a mentality. Oh, Elusive Man. I've been looking at the Longines Master Collection Triple Calendar Moon Phase with the rose gold Romans and hands with the see, now that would probably also have higher legibility because there are a lot of hands on that watch. But the Master Collection triple calendar moon phase, I used to own one, and I do miss it to a degree. But like I said, I'm getting the conquest back, so I'll feel better. Like I said, the big issue I had with the Master Collection was it was just for me it was hard to read. Because there are a lot of hands on that face because it uses a pointer date as well. So there's another hand there for the date. But it is a beautiful piece, and it's a column wheel, value 7751. I don't think eh, I don't think Etta makes a column wheel 7750 anything for anybody else but Longines because they've got some other watches with 7750 Ettas in them with column wheels. So yeah, that Master Collection, thumbs up on that purchase. As if you needed my permission. Making Ristery, that Longines is gorgeous. I agree. Smack Daddy, on the topic of moon phase, did anybody see the new Patek Cubitus? Thoughts on that new shape? Patek is trying hard to find something other than the Nautilus to make. They do. Patek's managed to keep a broader stable than poor Audemars Piguet. AP, if it's not a Royal Oak, nobody wants it. I mean, look at what they went through with their last major release. I think Patek's going to find that same kind of pushback on this. Everyone's saying, well, you should make something other than the Nautilus. They're going to say, well, look at this. It's not a Nautilus. They go, but not that. I like it. I think it's, a very square watch. And the thing about square watches is once you go past a Monaco or a Santos, because those are, we're not talking about B team watches. The Monaco was one of the first automatic chronos, and well, the Santos, its lineage goes back to being the first men's wristwatch. Cartier designed it for Santos Dumont, the aviator, back in 1903, 1904. So for Cartier for Patek to come out with such a square watch, such a chunky metallic watch, I think it looks good. It's a striking piece. It'll probably have a lot of wrist presence. And in a world where people think Richard Mille looks good, I mean, I put it this way: if I could get one at a reasonable price, and I had that kind of money, because I don't have that kind of money, but if I were your average luxury watch shopper, and I'm trying to decide between buying that or an AP, I'd buy the Patek, because at least it's not the same old AP. At least it's not the same old Nautilus. That's why a lot of people like the Vacheron. It's not that the overseas is any less derivative of a Genta type design. It's that not a lot of people knew it existed, so its look didn't get burned out as rapidly. I shouldn't say rapidly because it's been a long time, right? But now people are starting to get tired of the way the AP looks, and I won't say they're tired of the way the Nautilus looks, but Patek wants to broaden, they like to keep, Patek's smart enough to want to keep a broad palette. And the Aquanaut is a good example of that. And of course, there are things like their calendars, their perpetual calendars, and their moon phases and their chronos. Patek's got a very broad catalog. So I think they'll survive the Cubitus. And the Cubitus may grow on people. You never know. BT, hey, how's it going, BT? The new Habring 2 Oscar in satin blue with the moon phase is Yes, and Habring knows how to make a watch. In fact, Habring invented the clutch mechanism for the IWC, uh, double chronograph. Habring is a great watchmaker, really is, and I love the color blue. I told my girlfriend I sold her favorite watch, and she didn't talk to me for half an hour at the restaurant, because I sold my, JLC. um, I had the, Polaris automatic in blue, and she really liked that piece. But, I don't know, and I never could find the right strap for it, and it never really spoke to me the way some of the pieces I really like in my collection, like my Breitling. I love this piece. I love this piece to pieces, and it's not the most expensive piece in my collection, and it's not even the most wearable because it's highly, stylistic, you know, but it's a beautiful, beautiful watch, and I have it on the, factory rubber. I like it like that because it has a nice color. I had it on the factory leather, but they wear out, and the rubber's nice, so why not keep it on the rubber? And also another blue piece I have that I really like is my, Frederic Constant world timer. Best world timer under $10,000 you're gonna find, in my humble opinion. I think it's better than the Omega Aquaterra. The Omega Aquaterra, yes, it may have a titanium laser engraved, face, but in essence, it's a GMT playing world timer. Um, it's not a bad piece, at all. I would take it. In fact, a friend of mine bought one out from under my nose because I had shown it to him. It was on sale. I told him I was interested in it, and he bought it while I was standing right there. He's like, he calls the clerk over and he says, "I'll take that watch." And he wears it. He didn't buy it just to spite me. You don't drop 6K but he recognized the deal that I saw, and he had the resources on hand. Well, he put it on his credit card. I would, unless was immediately going to move the money into that account, I would, never buy a watch on credit. Use a credit card to help move the money around, yes, but don't use the credit account to buy the watch. Um, Dr. Bob's Nightmare. Hey, how's it going? Greetings and long life. Cubitus. It looks like Tag Heuer made a Bell and Ross Santos homage. Okay, you get the gold star today in the class. That's a good one. It looks like Tag Heuer made a Bell and Ross Santos homage. Because I did mention the Monaco and I did mention the Santos, but I forgot about Bell and Ross. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that's the thing. Square watches, they tend to be very, I shouldn't say niche, but they're a very tight vertical. Let's put it that way. They're a very tight vertical. Trap vision. The moon phase complication is a special movement to me. So when I'm ready to own one Longines, it is it. Yeah, that's why I said I'm really looking forward to getting I'm gonna meet my friend at the Electronica conference in Munich in November. And so we're gonna do a hand transfer of the watches. But I'm looking very much forward to getting that Longines Conquest moon phase back. It's a nice watch. It really is. And I'm realizing another reason that I because I was thinking about which of the two, because I wanted one of those back. I didn't know which one it for a long time, but then I realized the Conquest is designed to be a daily wear. The Master collection is more of a casual up, business casual and up watch, whereas the Conquest is more of a trade show suit and down watch. It's more of a daily wear piece, and I realized that's what I really want now in my next moon phase. Because I was actually thinking of the new Maine. That's something everyone should take a look at. In fact, it was that watch that made me realize how much moon phases were coming back, because all the watch pundits are going nuts over this Maine moon phase. And in my mind, I think it's more because it's more of a daily wear moon phase. It's got loomed hands, it's a more sporty case, and the wearability of a watch, I think, is very important nowadays. If you have a collection, you should have, a nice suit piece and a good beater and all of these other, but for an all-around daily wear, that mane is a really nice piece, and it has a really nice looking moon phase. Christopher Ward has that. They have a couple of moon phases. There are a lot of really nice ones out there, but me personally, I agree with you. The Longines is awesome. It really is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that Conquest again. Let's see, Nanad, and the watches are timeless, and you forget watches allow us to talk about this beautiful hobby. Yes, and as I've always said, watches are one of the. I mean, there are other similar hobbies of in that nature. No politics, no race, no religion, no sex. Um, Watches are a pure hobby. Frankly, like model trains or archery. I mean, automobiles. The, the nice thing about watches is because it's a culmination of art and engineering and style, and a little bit of marketing. It transcends its category. It's not Watches are not just jewelry. They're not just tools. They're The combination is greater than the sum of the parts, as it were, when it comes to watches, at least in my opinion. Trap Vision, I held the Longines Master Collection moon phase and I'm impressed. It really is a nice watch. It really is a nice watch, and it's well made and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Longines is a very underappreciated company, and I'm pleased to see how well they are managing to maintain their identity in a corporate ownership environment. Making Ristery. I agree. The new Omega release is nice. I don't have an Omega yet, and I'm considering one. Well, probably now would be a good time to buy a vintage twisted lug because with all of the new releases out there, some people might be trying to, sell their because the Speedmaster is one watch that's not a Rolex that manages to hold its value pretty strongly. I mean, right now one retails new for around 6, and you'd be hard pressed to find a Speedmaster for less than 5 used unless it's in bad shape with no box and no papers. Especially if it's something like a Sapphire Sandwich or a more modern Speedmaster, you're not going to find it for less than 5. You know, good. It retains its value well. And the thing about a Speedmaster, once you buy one, you're never going to sell it anyway. I mean, if you were only going to have one watch, the Speedmaster is arguably a great, buy for that one watch. It's that nice all-purpose a piece. Like in my case, I keep mine on the leather because I wear this with my suit at trade shows. On the leather, it looks awesome. Looks very dressy. You put it on a NATO, and it's very sporty. You put it on a metal, and it looks very cool. Speedmaster is a strap monster. And if you have a watch and a bunch of straps, you have a bunch of watches. You'll never go wrong with the Speedmaster. Straight lug or twisted, or lyre lugs, as they're called as well. Lyre, like the old-timey Greek musical instrument. Trap Vision. I saw the Patek Moonface Square. Not a fan, but I'm sure it will satisfy many people itching to spend some money. Well, there's that too, because like I said, it has big wrist presence. So if you're wearing that, everybody knows you have the new Patek on your wrist, right? No one's gonna no one's gonna go, I wonder what he's wearing or she's wearing. You wearing one of them, people know what you're wearing. So it will have a sub culture of people who like it because it's such a striking piece. Because it is striking. Whether you like it or not is a different thing, but it catches your attention, that's for sure. And it's very obviously well made, even from a distance. Um, well, once you get through a certain distance, everything looks reasonably well if it's not badly made. But the nice thing about a piece like the Patek is the closer you look, the more you see because of the detail they put into the piece. No one's going to be disappointed they buy it, but not everybody will give it the chance that it may or may not deserve. It